Hey, it's Mark, and I'm going to look at some sectors and charts here. So let's start with uranium again, because I've been watching uranium a lot lately, and it looks like most of these charts are just in a consolidation, like bull flags, like NXZ. NXZ is right back on my trend support, so that's my level that I found for trend support, and it's right back on it again. Looks like another bull flag, like this one. That was a bull flag there. It looks like another bull flag here. And URA is one of the ETFs, and that's like less. It's a little less bull flaggy looking, but it's back on a support level. So looks like something's got to happen, and they got to hold here the next couple days. And the other ETF is URNM, since we're looking at them. So this one looks like it could be a bull flag too, because it did break out again. So these charts actually don't look as good as the stocks. Some of these stocks themselves, like DNN, looks pretty bull flaggy, and Euro is not so much. It's like looks kind of like more like the ETF. But some of these still look pretty good. Yeah, like the ASPI is looking good, and UEC looks like a flag. NXE, of course, and the NXE is one of the ones I've liked the most technically. Like the technicals are usually really good on it. So yeah, URG not as quite bullish looking as some of these other ones. Like DNN is pretty good. EU's holding in pretty well. Like that looks. It hasn't even pulled back really. And if you missed my Twitter, I did a Twitter post on some more leading economic indicators that I follow, but they're less economic data and just more stocks and certain sectors. So what I did the last one I found was the housing starts. Like if you track the housing starts, like I've been tracking them the past, or for years really, but I've been watching them more the past couple years because they bottomed out back in last winter, and we've really been going up since then, and it's still holding trend. Like here's the actual here's the Fed data. So you look at it, and then recently, 2020 of course was the crash, and then it rebounded quickly, and then it's still it's still in its mean, I'd say it's still a trend. The past year, like I'll put on my Twitter, we've been trending up still. So we're in a little bit of a pullback here, but it doesn't go up in a straight line, of course. There's ups and downs, but as long as the trend is up, that's all that matters. Because when the trend goes down, when it starts downtrending, like it started downtrending back in 2022, like as soon as the spring hit 2022, it started downtrending, taking out some of the lows from the previous year. And that makes sense if you think about it, because 2022 was sort of like not so much recessionary, as far as actually it was classically like there's two quarters of negative GDP growth in the first and second quarter 2022. But most people dismissed 2022 as a recession, but there was consumer spending did slow down. It was basically flat, consumer spending. So that makes sense, with looking at these housing starts. So they bottomed back in November of 2022, and then we've just been trending up ever since. And it's gone with the stock market too. So it's definitely tied in with the stock market and seemingly the economy too, based on the last couple of years. And of course, obviously in 2020 it crashed with the economy. So that's bullish for the economy, as long as it keeps trending up. So you look at the 1 year, it's still uptrending. Like we're in a pullback here, but that's normal. It just doesn't go straight up. So that's that. That indicator that I follow. And housing starts are important because a lot of the economy is tied into housing. I can't remember the exact percentage. I think it's less than 30%, but it's for sure. But of course, the stronger the housing market, is the more people feel wealthy, and people are buying new houses. That's always a good thing. So that's that. And then uranium. I'm just gonna keep a watch on these. Like I really think I'm gonna take a shot here at some more calls, because uranium's just been incredibly consistent. As far as the runs it's had. It's been up and up, over time here. So it fits in with the big picture too, because you've got there's an ever increasing demand for energy that's alternative to fossil fuels and conventional energy. So I've been following some of the news with Germany. Germany apparently they moved away from nuclear, and it seems like that might have been a bad move. As far as what they did. So maybe some countries are sort of looking at Germany as an example and thinking that they need to be nuclear, like Iran. Iran is building more power plants. I'm sure other countries are. That'll be interesting data. I'm not like a uranium expert or anything. I don't really track it super closely, but that'll be an interesting research thing to look at. Would be exactly how many countries are building power plants, versus years prior. But I think it's a pretty safe bet to say that there's a likelihood that there'll be more power plants and more need for uranium, because the lithium is different, because it depends on what the car companies decide to do for cars, right? But that's kind of a more micro thing. And you look at these data centers, like what if? I mean, you've got the Sam Altman, who's one of the leading AI companies. He wants more money to build to get more chips and more data centers and more. There's more and more and more and more. So yeah, I mean the theme is just we need more energy, right? More sources. So that's the uranium, and I haven't been watching I've just kind of been watching, the Nasdaq and tech stocks, and these tech stocks are just so incredible. I think it's still safe to just be in the hardware and the infrastructure plays, like one of my favorite data center stocks is the VRT, and it just did a high flag there. That was a high flag, and it's still got a really bullish chart. I mean, look at that. That's the VRT. Those are really like a high flag triangle there. It's like the momentum is just incredible. Like every time there's a red candle, they just blow through it. Like some of the other ones I like the NTNX, and I see people don't talk about this one as much on Twitter or on X. It's like usually MongoDB and stuff like that, but this one's just been a killer. Like it's never really had a pullback since early 2000 or 2023. So that one's one of my other favorites. And this RGTI, which is kind of like a fringe, kind of like speculative play on quantum computing, because it's like the only publicly traded one that I know of that's a pure play. So this is like a pure play on quantum computing, and there's like the ETF, but I don't think it has like as pure play. But isn't that something too? The ETF just broke out again in the last couple days, so it's a good thing I looked at that because that's like a no-brainer too. It looks like, you know, with the momentum it's got. It looks like, oh yeah, we just took out the highs from 21. Looks like, I mean, not a lot of sectors are doing this, you know, taking out highs from 2021. Of course, tech is, but you know, quantum computing is sort of considered like it's almost like a fringe kind of like speculative area of IT, but you know, maybe there's something will happen with that. You know, maybe it'll be years, but there's appetite for it right now. It looks like, at least in the stocks. So yeah, I just want to make sure that it actually did break out. It looks like it did. Because it could get, you'd think it would get hung up there for a little bit, but looks like it's going to blow through it. So the absolute high was 57.15 there. Yeah, 57.15, and we're at 57.50s, so it looks like it's going to blow right through. So that's kind of telling there. Because I wouldn't have been surprised if it just kind of like hung up there and just kind of flagged, you know, and did a bull flag or just went sideways there, but that's pretty bullish looking. So like the RSI is probably off the charts. So that's interesting. That kind of makes my this setup here in RGTI even better, because it's got the ETFs, the industry is actually going up there. Because when I looked at RGTI, I found, you know, it came back up. This is the channel resistance here, the top red line, and it came back up and it just kind of hovered around and failed there, but it popped back up above resistance. So it's pretty bullish, because it looked like it was gonna actually come back down. Because once the price is in a channel, it's, you know, it's more likely to get stuck, you know, in there. But to me, that looks like a bull flag. Just looking at the volume, like the light sell volume versus the up days. So that sell volume looks like a bull flag. I mean, the candle bodies were pretty wide. The candle bodies make it look a little worse, but if it can be green tomorrow, you know, hold over the close from Friday, if it's like, but I think if it goes up, if it's green tomorrow and breaks over 127, it looks pretty bullish. I mean, it looks like you've got, I mean, since you've got all tech going too, but you see this hasn't really been correlated with tech, but that's kind of the only downside, is it's not really, it's not very in the know, in favor here. But there's some pretty good volume came in the past month. And there's another play on the quantum computers, but it hasn't been quite as consistent. The ARQQ, they actually supply their Rigetti, the RGTI, their supplier, and this one's just not good. You know, price wise, it's just consistently downtrending. So it'll be a while, if ever, on this one coming around, but it's on my watch list. So one of the other ones that's always kind of beaten down is BKSY, and they have really good fundamentals. Like I think the market's been wrong on this one, and the fundamentals are just really good. You know, growth, a lot of growth. So you'd think every growth stock would be rewarded at this point, but it looks like, I think the market's just sleeping on this one. But somebody keeps keeps accumulating at the support levels though. So I think it's just a matter of time before this one really starts to go, you know, back over like $2 or $3, because their growth is really good, and it's just really cheap for the growth. You know, you'd think growth would be more in favor, but these are small caps, so they're not really as you know, visible. So I'm going through these. I'm sort of like unconsciously going through these watches that are still beaten down. Like some of these stocks are still pretty low, but they've had good sector strength or industry strength. So the DNA, that's another one. It's kind of interesting. It's one of the more interesting biotechs, and it's been consistently beaten down here too. But it looks like it found support again. So I've been watching this one when it was on support here. It found that support again, because that support goes back. It goes back to like the spring of 23, so about a year. Excuse me, and so that's kind of interesting here, because healthcare has been pretty good. You know, biotech hasn't been quite as good as just, you know, the healthcare sector itself, but it's got some good technicals going here. It broke over that level there. So yeah, I'd say this one has a chance too. And I just kind of I bought the calls and it didn't work out, so I might just buy the calls again, because some of the stuff's gonna actually move, it seems. So it usually has like two $50 strike calls. So BRDRY, yeah, these shippers are still going. I was trying to think of the other really good setups I saw. I don't think there was any amazing ones. Yeah, GOGL, see, I found that trend line right there, and it keeps riding on that trend line. Keeps holding it. Like, see it dip back down there. So this one looks really bullish still. So it's still holding above levels, breaking out. That's kind of a bad candle on the SBLK, but that one's still near breakout levels too. So yeah, I've been watching Bitcoin too, and some of these cryptos. Like Bitcoin, it's had good runs in the past, and I don't see why this won't continue if the market's up too. So I'm always watching Bitcoin and these miners. Yeah, as the miners was some more interesting setups. There's certain miners that look pretty good. Like these high short interest ones can easily go, like CIFR. That always has like a 30% short percentage of the float. So it was up 15% Friday. And I put on some anti calls, and actually some of these look just as good now, like CIFR, Wolf. They all look pretty similar. It's just a matter of which one's going to go up the most. You know, probably would be, my hunch would be like the short squeeze ones. So those are ones to keep an eye on too. And I've been watching the marijuana names have still been strong. And semis are strong, of course, with NVIDIA. And yeah, Hood, I believe Hood has earnings on Monday or Tuesday. I think it's Tuesday. But yeah, I'm pretty sure Hood has earnings. RobinHood has earnings on Monday or Tuesday. So that's interesting because it just held that level. And that was a pretty good level there. Yeah, it goes back. It goes way back, that the 11s. Because when it's held over this level, it's usually had a good run. But we'll see what their earnings are like. But Hood's kind of one of my favorite stocks, just for buy and hold too, because I think they're gonna get bought out at some point. Like their user interface is just one of the best, or the best, on mobile. And Tesla's still holding, so Tesla's got trend support on the intradays. So it's a good short-term chart for Tesla still. And I think that's about it. Like there might have been one or two things I forgot about, but I think that was pretty much what I've been looking at here. Yeah, and these hotel stocks are just really impressive too. I mean, you talk about, like the economy and at least the market sentiment on this stuff, hotels, hotels do well, when the economy is strong, and, these wouldn't be making, multi-year highs if the economy was weak or about to be weak. But, that goes back, like the sentiment's pretty strong, it's not just tech. There's a lot of other places like Hilton hotels. These are just continue to really kill it. So that's why I think Soho has a chance. Even though it's actually like a REIT, I think, eventually the market will probably come around to them. So yeah, let's call it a wrap there, because went over a bunch of stuff. So I'll catch you later on in the week. I'll probably do a video on Monday or Tuesday, and I'll see what happens.